before I even had a needle pricked into me, I almost passed out. Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Trina if you're new here. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click that red subscribe button down below. And if you like mom-related content, mom videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up so I know to keep creating mom content for you. So if you've been watching me for a while, you know I kind of went a little absent, but I did have my baby. So Cohen Andrew was born on December 22nd at 4:20 p.m. And today I'm going to tell you about my labor and delivery story. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right on in. I do have notes here because I wrote it all down so I wouldn't forget anything to tell you guys. So we went in December 22nd at 7 a.m. I was induced. So we went in at 7. We ate breakfast before we went in. I got showered, it was just kind of relaxing to go in. And we got checked in. And one of the funniest things to start the morning off with is I put on my hospital gown in like the little room bathroom and sat down on the hospital bed. And before I even had a needle pricked into me, I almost passed out. Yeah. So, this is my second child. So I've done that all before. It's not like I'm afraid of needles or I was scared or anxious, but I just got really hot. I started to not be able to hear things, when it sounds like things are collapsing in, and my vision got blurrier. And yeah, I almost passed out. Then when I finally got myself back to normal, it happened a second time. So my blood pressure was really low, and it's normally low, just on average, and being pregnant, it also causes your blood pressure to go lower. So it was just something to do with my blood pressure at that point in time. Once they got me, back to normal, was just kind of sit there, relax, drink some water. Then they went ahead, got the IV started, got me hooked up, the little straps that they put around your stomach to track the baby's heartbeat. I was actually tested strep B positive, and it's not a big deal. It's something that they test for you, I think, at around 34 or 36 weeks to see if you're strep B positive. And it's just a infection or it's a bacteria actually that's in your intestines that can affect your baby. So they will test you just to make sure if you do have it, they can treat your baby when it's born. But since I went in early and was induced, they were able to give me a antibiotic beforehand. And being able to give me that antibiotic means I wouldn't have to stay in the hospital an additional 24 hours with my baby, because if you are strep B positive, your baby has to be monitored for an extra 24 hours to see if it passed on to them. I can link some articles below or some information below about strep B. I don't have all the information. I just know I had to get some antibiotics. So that was a 4-hour process. So before I could even be induced, my husband and I had to sit there and wait for this antibiotics to, filter through my system. And that was 4 hours. So by the time we were ready to actually start the Pitocin and get the labor going, it was about 11 o'clock. I actually started going into labor and getting some contractions before that. So my labor was actually starting a little bit on its own. So if it would have been another day or two, I probably would have gone into labor all on my own. But they started the Pitocin at about 11. Let me check my notes, make sure I got this all right for you. And I also got an epidural. So I got my epidural shortly after they started the Pitocin, I believe. So it was around 11:30. I got the epidural. I got an epidural with my last one. I got one with this one. And since I did have such low blood pressure, which was causing me to, kind of pass out in the morning, they had to keep my epidural dosage low because the anesthesia in the epidural also causes your blood pressure to drop. So they had to keep my epidural low. So I was feeling a lot of my contractions more so than with my first one, because once I got my epidural with my first child, I felt nothing below the chest. it was actually kind of great. But this time around, I pretty much felt all the contractions. I mean, they weren't super strong because I remember what those contractions felt like when I had my first one. So they weren't crazy yet. Stick around. I'm going to tell you all about it here, what it felt like before I had him. So during this time, my husband and I, we were just, hanging out, watching TV shows. We actually brought our laptop and we were watching The Affair from Showtime, just hanging out, watching that. My parents had taken our daughter the night before. She spent the night, so we didn't have to worry about her. So we were just pretty much hanging out as the contractions got stronger and stronger. And around 3 o'clock, I really started to feel like the pain of the contractions. Like it was reaching the pain that I felt with my first child when I first started going into labor, which I've never felt anything like strong with her, because like I said, I was in labor with her about an hour or two before they got me the epidural, so I wasn't full force like it was now. And since they did keep the epidural dosage low, I could feel it. I could feel the pain. I was very uncomfortable. So the doctor came in and checked me at 3, and at 3 o'clock I was 3 centimeters and 70% effaced. So the doctor went ahead and went back to the office because we were in the hospital. Their office is in a different building. She went ahead and went back to the office because she figured I still had time since I was only 3 centimeters and 70% effaced. Oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you, my water was broke at 1. And I will tell you from experience, once your water is broke, whether it breaks on your own or you have it broken in the hospital, that's when things tended to kick off for me. That's when things started to get really powerful. It went really fast when my water was broke with both kids. So my water was broke at 1, and the doctor actually broke it for me to get things going quicker. So the doctor checked me, went back to the office, and an hour later at 4, I was feeling like some pressure down there. Like I said, with the first one, I didn't really have that feeling. So I was starting to feel pressure that I haven't really felt before. So I asked the nurse if she could check me. I said, it's feeling kind of strange down there. Maybe you guys better check just see what's going on. So the nurse pulled the blanket up and she said, I don't even need to check. I can see his head. So the nurses started rushing around. They were really concerned because the doctor wasn't there. She was back at the office, which is probably about a 5 to 7 minute drive from the hospital, depending on traffic. And since it was 4 o'clock, it's kind of rush hour here in our small town, but not rush hour. There's just a lot of cars on the road, people getting off of work. So the nurses were rushing around, getting set up. They were asking each other, where's the cheat sheet? Where's the cheat sheet? Because they really thought that they were going to deliver my baby without the doctor, because he was ready to come. He was right down there. Luckily, the next doctor that was on call happened to show up early just so she could, get in, get ready. But she was called right on into my room to deliver my baby. So she came in. She wanted to chat some, but the nurse was like, no. We got to go. So after, how many hours was that? So we started the Pitocin around 11. By 4, I was ready to push. I pushed about 10 minutes, maybe. It was like 3 or 4 pushes, maybe not even 10 minutes. And again, this time around, I could actually feel what was going on down there. I didn't feel it with my first one at all. I didn't. But this time, since the anesthesia from the epidural was lower, I definitely felt him coming right out down there. He did come out head first, which was good, but he had his arm up to his chest like this, like kind of holding on to his umbilical cord apparently. And so he came out with a arm dysplasia. I think that's what they call it. I'm not 100% sure. It was very mild. The nurse actually told me later she wouldn't have even technically diagnosed him with that because it was so mild. But since he did come out and his shoulder was pulled or something or other, the doctor did want to note that on my charts. But he didn't have any problems. We didn't have any issues, with his arm. Perfectly healthy, 7 pounds, 12 ounces, born at 4:20 p.m. I think it was 19 inches long. And yeah, We really pushed our doctors to get us out of the hospital within 24 hours because it's very uncomfortable in that hospital. You don't really get much sleep. We had our other daughter who was, she's 22 months. She's still a little baby to me, and she wasn't even able to come visit us because we've had a whooping cough epidemic in our town, which had a lot of high school kids sick. And so nobody under the age of 18 was allowed in the hospital to come visit us. So she wasn't even able to come see us. So we really pushed to get us out within 24 hours. And with our hospital, you can leave 24 hours after the baby's born. So the baby has to be monitored for at least 24 hours before you can leave. And we went in on a Wednesday, the 22nd. And we got out that next day at around 6 p.m. So it's nice to get home. We were home in time for Christmas Eve, which we just spent at home. It was a very quick birth, not too many issues. I did get some stitches. And yeah, so with my first child, it was a very quick laboring process also, so they expected this to be quick. That's why he came so fast. If you tend to have a quicker labor and birth the first time around, they're going to monitor you the second time around, just because the second time around it tends to go faster. So that's why he came so quick. That's my story. That's what happened. I'll just check my notes here, see if I forgot anything. He did have a little bit of bruising, like right in here, since he was setting on my pelvis for a while because he was ready to come. There was no doctor, and the nurses actually told me not to push, just wait. They were really hoping the doctor would show up on time. So he did have a little bit of bruising right here, but nothing that didn't stick around. It was gone within a day or two. So I want to hear from you what your labor and delivery process was like. Similar, different? I'd love to hear from you down below. And if you want some tips on life with a newborn or how to deal with labor and delivery or anything like that, let me know also down in the comments below. I want to know what you want to hear from me. He is now 7 weeks old. So any kind of tips, tricks to survive those first couple months, let me know. That's what you want to hear down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.